Change. We all love the idea of it, but fear actually facing it. We dream of becoming stronger, wiser, and freer. Yet, when change begins, it doesn't feel like growth. It feels like chaos. That's because real growth isn't just a moment of inspiration. It's a battle between who you were and who you're becoming. In this journey, we'll explore the psychology of change and growth. You'll learn why your mind resists it and how fear can be your teacher, not your enemy. We'll navigate the storm of emotion that every transformation brings and see how your subconscious writes your destiny, and more importantly, how you can rewrite it. This is about stepping beyond your comfort zone, breaking free from your old identity, and rebuilding yourself. Ultimately, you'll awaken to a powerful truth. Growth isn't about becoming someone new. It's about remembering who you truly are. So take a breath, open your mind. This is the psychology of change and growth. Let's begin. Change. It's the one thing everyone wants, and yet, it's the one thing most of us fear. We dream about it, we talk about growth, success, transformation, but when change finally arrives at our doorstep, it rarely feels beautiful. It doesn't come wrapped in comfort, tied with a neat bow. No, real change often comes wrapped in chaos. Why? Because every single change, every transformation, begins with an ending. Before something new can begin, something old has to die. It could be a habit, a deeply held belief, or even a version of yourself that you've known for years. We love the idea of growth, but we hate the process that demands it. We scroll through motivational quotes and imagine ourselves as this new, improved person, but the reality of getting there is far from glamorous. Real growth doesn't feel like a sudden burst of motivation. More often than not, it feels like loss, confusion, and fear. It's that terrifying moment when everything you thought you knew, every strategy you used to cope, suddenly stops working. And in that silence, a small voice in your mind whispers, "Who am I now?" That feeling, that disorientation, is not failure. It's evolution. It's the sound of your old self cracking to make room for the new. Change isn't a single, heroic decision you make one day. It's a daily death and rebirth. It's your mind slowly, painfully learning to let go of what's safe and familiar to reach for what's true and what's next. Psychology has a term for this messy, internal process: cognitive restructuring. It's exactly what it sounds like. Your brain is literally breaking old neural connections to build new, stronger ones. It's like rewiring the very foundation of your identity. And just like any major reconstruction project, it has to start by tearing something down. That's why change so often feels like you're falling apart. Because, in a very real neurological way, you are. Your brain is fighting itself. Your deep-seated need for comfort is clashing with your soul's, calling for something more. Here's the uncomfortable truth about change. It doesn't wait for you to be ready. It happens when staying the same becomes so painful, so unbearable, that it's no longer a viable option. Every human being eventually stands at that crossroad. On one path, there's comfort, safety, the familiar pain you've gotten used to. On the other path, there's growth, purpose, and an unknown, terrifying freedom. You'd think the choice would be easy, but most people choose comfort. Why? Because the human brain loves patterns. It's designed for efficiency and survival, and it fears uncertainty more than it fears misery. That's why so many lives remain stuck in the same loop for years, sometimes decades. It's not because people are incapable of changing, but because they unconsciously choose a familiar suffering over an unfamiliar growth. But this is where the science of the mind offers us hope. Psychology teaches us that real, lasting change doesn't start with brute force or willpower. You can't just bully yourself into a new life. It starts with something much quieter, much gentler: awareness. The moment you see your patterns, the moment you can observe your own self-sabotage without judgment, something incredible happens. Your brain begins to rewire itself. The neurons that once fired together in fear and resistance start to form new connections linked to curiosity. And curiosity is the seed of all growth. It's the little voice that asks, what if? So, if change feels uncomfortable for you right now, if you feel lost or uncertain, take a deep breath and know this: that is a good sign. It means you're in the process. It means you're growing. Because growth never feels like success at the beginning. It feels like uncertainty. And uncertainty is the birthplace of transformation. This understanding is just the beginning of your evolution. Now that you understand why change has to hurt, let's go deeper into the mind. Let's uncover the specific reasons your brain fights change so fiercely in the first place. The number one reason your brain resists change is something called homeostasis. It's a biological principle that applies to your mind just as much as your body. Your body works tirelessly to maintain a stable internal environment, a steady temperature, a balanced pH level. Your brain does the exact same thing with your thoughts, habits, and emotions. It craves a stable, predictable psychological state. This state is your comfort zone. It doesn't matter if your comfort zone is actually comfortable. It could be a place of anxiety, procrastination, or low self-worth. As long as it's familiar, your brain registers it as safe. So when you try to introduce a new habit, like waking up early to exercise, your brain sounds an alarm. It senses a deviation from the established baseline which is sleeping in. It doesn't see health or discipline. It just sees a threat to its stable, predictable world. It will then do everything in its power to pull you back to the old pattern. It will make you feel tired, unmotivated. It will whisper excuses into your ear. Just one more day won't hurt, or you deserve to rest. This isn't a sign of weakness. It's a sign that your brain's survival mechanism is working perfectly. It's trying to keep you safe by keeping you the same. The key is to recognize this resistance not as a stop sign, but as evidence that you are successfully pushing the boundaries of your homeostasis. The second major barrier is what psychologists call the negativity bias. Our brains are fundamentally wired to pay more attention to negative experiences than positive ones. This was an incredibly useful survival trait for our ancestors. Forgetting where the sweet berries grew was an inconvenience. Forgetting where the saber-toothed tiger lived was fatal. So, our brains evolved to be like Velcro for bad experiences and Teflon for good ones. How does this affect change? When you consider making a big life change, like starting a business or moving to a new city, your brain does immediately focus on the exciting possibilities of success and happiness. Instead, its ancient, fear-based circuits light up. It starts scanning for every possible danger, every potential failure. What if you lose all your money? What if you don't make any friends? What if you hate it and you're stuck? This flood of negative what-ifs isn't a reflection of reality. It's a feature of your brain's outdated operating system. It's trying to protect you from perceived threats. But in the modern world, this bias often protects you from opportunity and joy. Overcoming this requires consciously shifting your focus. It means acknowledging the scary scenarios, but then deliberately, actively, and repeatedly focusing on the potential positive outcomes. Finally, let's talk about identity. This is the deepest and most powerful force that keeps us stuck. We don't just have habits, we have identities built around those habits. You're not just someone who smokes, you are a smoker. You're not just someone who avoids social events. You are an introvert or shy. These labels become part of the story we tell ourselves about who we are. When you try to change the habit, you're not just changing a behavior, you're challenging your own identity. And that feels like a direct threat to your sense of self. Your brain panics because if you're not the person who always overthinks, then who are you? This void, this unknown identity, is terrifying. This is why affirmations alone often fail. Simply saying, "I am confident," when your entire identity is built around being insecure, creates cognitive dissonance. Your brain rejects it. The more effective path is to start with tiny, manageable actions that provide evidence for a new identity. Instead of declaring you're a healthy person, just go for one 10-minute walk. The action is small, non-threatening, but after you do it, you have a tiny piece of evidence. You're now a person who sometimes goes for a walk. Repeat that small action, and the evidence builds. Slowly, gently, you start to construct a new identity from the ground up, based on proof, not just hope. The old identity doesn't die in a dramatic battle. It simply fades away as the new one becomes stronger. Understanding these three forces, homeostasis, negativity bias, and identity, is like being given a map to your own mind. The resistance you feel isn't personal. It isn't a sign that you're broken or weak. It's simply the predictable, universal mechanics of the human brain. And once you see the mechanics, you are no longer a victim of them. You become the operator. You can anticipate the resistance. You can understand where it's coming from, and you can develop strategies to work with your brain, not against it. You learn to soothe its fear of the unknown, to gently challenge its negative stories, and to slowly build a new identity, one small, brave step at a time. This is the true art of transformation. Thank you for joining me on this journey into the mind. If this exploration of the psychology of change resonated with you, consider subscribing for more deep dives into how our minds work. Every click helps us continue creating content that empowers you to understand yourself better. Until next time, be patient with your process. Every time you try to change, you meet resistance. You decide to start something new, and suddenly, doubt appears. You make a plan, and distraction follows. You take one step forward, and fear drags you 2 steps back. It's not bad luck. It's your brain doing exactly what it was designed to do: protect you. For millions of years, survival was the brain's only job. In ancient times, anything unfamiliar meant danger. A strange sound could mean a predator. A new path could lead to death. So your brain devolved a simple rule: if it's new, it might be unsafe. That rule still runs your life today. When you try to change your job, your habits, your identity, your brain interprets it as a threat. The same system that once saved you from wild animals now saves you from your own potential. This resistance has a name in psychology: homeostasis. It's your mind's way of keeping things familiar, a mental thermostat that resets your life back to normal, even when normal is painful. That's why, after motivation fades, you return to old patterns. Your mind isn't weak, it's simply addicted to safety. This creates a conflict between your mind and your brain. The mind dreams of progress, but the brain demands protection. Every time you say, "I want to change," your brain whispers, "But what if it hurts?" That internal tug-of-war is not failure, it's biology. When you set a new goal, your prefrontal cortex, the rational part of your brain, gets excited. But deep inside, your amygdala, the fear center, flashes a red warning. Unknown, detected. Stay still. That warning releases stress hormones like cortisol. Your heart beats faster, your palms sweat, and suddenly you think, maybe I'll start tomorrow. You're not lazy. You're chemically resisting your own evolution. That's why understanding resistance is power. Because once you recognize it, you can work with your brain instead of against it. There's another force behind resistance, your ego. The ego isn't pride, it's your identity. It's the story you tell yourself about who you are. Change threatens that story. When you try to grow beyond your past, your ego feels like it's disappearing. So it fights back, not with anger, but with logic. It tells you, you've always been this way, or people like you don't succeed, or you're too old, too young, too late. These aren't facts, they're defense mechanisms. Your mind builds them to keep you in the familiar. But remember, the ego would rather you be safe and stuck than free and uncertain. This brings us to the inner battle between comfort and growth. The two can't coexist. One must die for the other to live. When you choose growth, you choose discomfort, confusion, failure, effort. When you choose comfort, you choose repetition. The same mistakes in softer packaging. Most people want growth without pain. But that's like wanting muscles without weight, or wisdom without mistakes. Pain isn't the opposite of growth. It's the proof of it. Your resistance, the fear, the hesitation, the overthinking, isn't a sign that you're broken. It's a sign that you're entering a new mental space. You're walking past the edges of your identity. And every time you push through that discomfort, your brain performs a miracle called neuroadaptation. It begins to rewire itself, releasing dopamine for progress instead of safety. The unknown becomes familiar. The challenge becomes normal. The impossible becomes routine. That's how habits are born, not from sudden motivation, but from repeated resistance met with awareness. The more you face resistance consciously, the weaker it becomes. Because the mind learns not by avoiding fear, but by surviving it. Every fear you face rewrites your identity. Every hesitation you overcome builds a new self. That's how growth begins, not when the fear disappears, but when it no longer decides for you. So if your mind is resisting right now, if everything inside you wants to quit, don't. That resistance is not the enemy, it's the invitation. The mind resists change, not because you're weak, but because you're on the edge of transformation. And when you cross that edge, you don't just change your habits, you change who you are. Now that you know why the mind resists, it's time to learn how it adapts, the hidden science behind growth itself. Growth isn't an accident. It's a processor, psychological, emotional, and even biological evolution. You see, when we talk about change, we often imagine it as a single event, a breakthrough moment. But science tells a different story. Real growth doesn't happen in a moment. It happens in patterns. The human brain was designed to adapt. It constantly updates itself based on your experiences, your thoughts, and your choices. This ability is called neuroplasticity, the brain's capacity to form and reorganize new neural pathways. Every time you challenge yourself, you force your brain to operate outside its comfort zone. That discomfort, the tension, the uncertainty, the confusion, is not a sign of failure. It's a biological signal that your neurons are rewiring. When you try something new, your brain releases a small dose of stress, chemicals adrenaline and cortisol. They heighten your alertness. Then, if you persist long enough, dopamine, the learning reward chemical, starts to flow. This combination forms what scientists call the growth loop. Stress signals the challenge, effort triggers adaptation, and reward reinforces the new behavior. The more you repeat this cycle, the stronger those neural connections become. That's how change turns into habit, and habit turns into identity. Psychologists call it the zone of proximal development, the sweet spot between comfort and chaos. If you stay too safe, you don't grow. If you push too far, you break. But if you challenge yourself just enough, you enter the growth zone, where learning and progress feel difficult but possible. Think of it like lifting weights. If the weight is too light, you gain nothing. If it's too heavy, you get injured. Growth happens in resistance you can handle, not avoid. So the next time you feel stretched, confused, or uncertain, don't run from it. It means you're in the exact place where transformation happens. Growth is not found in perfection, it's found in the tension between what you can do and what you could become. Change starts as cognitive dissonance, that uncomfortable gap between your current reality and your desired one. Your mind feels two conflicting truths. I want to be better, and I'm not there yet. That tension is painful, but it's also fuel. Because the mind hates inconsistency, it will do whatever it can to close the gap. And if you stay aware, it begins to choose action over avoidance. That's why discomfort is not the enemy. It's the signal of potential. The greatest moments of transformation always begin as mental friction. The more you resist it, the longer you stay stuck. The more you embrace it, the faster you evolve. Psychology defines growth as a repeating cycle. First comes awareness. You recognize something must change. Then comes conflict. Your current habits fight to stay alive. Next is experimentation. You take small steps toward the unknown. Then, adaptation. Your mind adjusts to the new behavior. And finally, integration. The new pattern becomes automatic. Most people quit in stage 2 when conflict feels overwhelming. But the truth is, the presence of conflict means progress has already begun. Because every time you push through that second stage, your identity begins to evolve. You start to see yourself differently, not as someone trying to change, but as someone capable of changing. That shift in self-perception is called identity expansion. It's not just growth, it's becoming. Failure is not a stop sign, it's a mirror. When you fail, your brain receives new data, information it couldn't get from success alone. In fact, neuroscience shows that failure activates the part of your brain responsible for learning and problem solving. So the more you fail and analyze your mistakes, the faster your brain learns to adapt. The only failure that stops growth is the one you refuse to learn from. Each setback is a message, a clue about what needs to change next. Listen to it, honor it, then move forward. Growth isn't about avoiding pain. It's about using it. Emotions aren't obstacles, they're signals. Fear means you're leaving safety. Sadness means you're processing change. Excitement means your future self is calling you forward. Psychologists say emotions act as a GPS for growth. They tell you where you are and where you're avoiding. The more you learn to feel without running, the stronger your emotional intelligence becomes. Emotional maturity isn't about controlling feelings. It's about understanding them so they can guide you instead of rule you. Growth happens when the emotional mind and logical mind finally begin to work together. When your heart stops fearing what your brain already knows, that discomfort is not death, it's direction. The science of growth isn't hidden in a textbook. It's written in your daily struggle. Every challenge, every failure, every fear is your brain learning to expand beyond what it used to believe. Growth doesn't happen because life gets easier. It happens because you get stronger. So when you feel lost, remember this: your brain is not breaking, it's building. You're not falling apart. You're falling into your next version. Now that we understand the science behind growth, it is time to look at the heart of transformation, the emotional journey that tests who we truly are. Thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe for the next part of our journey. Change doesn't happen in your mind first. It happens in your heart. Before your brain rewires, before your habits shift, something inside you must first break open the emotional layer that holds your old identity together. Because growth isn't just about building new patterns, it's about releasing old pain. Every transformation begins with loss, the loss of who you used to be. That's why change feels so painful. Even when you want it, your emotions mourn the version of you that's fading away. When you leave behind old habits, you're not just changing actions, you're leaving behind comfort, memories, sometimes even people, and your heart resists. It says, "This feels wrong," but it's not wrong, it's unfamiliar. In psychology, this process is called transitional grief. Your emotions grieve the death of stability. Even if your old life was painful, it was still known, and the human heart finds safety in the known. The paradox of change is this: the same pain that breaks you is the pain that frees you. You can't skip it. You can't bypass it with motivation or distraction, because emotions are not obstacles, they are messages. They speak a language older than words. Fear says, "Protect me." Sadness says, "Something mattered." Anger says, "Something's not fair." And acceptance whispers, "Let's move forward." Growth requires listening to these emotions, not silencing them. In neuroscience, emotions are just data packets, signals sent between your brain and body. When you ignore them, they repeat louder. When you honor them, they complete their cycle and fade. That's why healing feels heavy at first and peaceful later. There's a moment in every person's transformation where everything feels like it's falling apart. You question your choices, your path, your worth. It feels like you've lost direction. But in truth, you're not breaking down. You're breaking through. That chaos is your emotional system recalibrating your nervous system, learning to live without old fears. Your heart learning to beat to a new rhythm. Psychologists call this process emotional reorganization. Your brain literally rebuilds how it responds to stress, love, fear, and hope. That's why, right before the biggest breakthroughs, you often face your darkest nights. Because your mind is dissolving everything that doesn't fit the next version of you. Growth isn't all light. It's shadow, too. Carl Jung, one of psychology's greatest minds, believed that true growth begins the moment you face your shadow self, the parts of you you've denied, buried, or judged. Your jealousy, your anger, your fears, they're not your enemies. They're your unhealed teachers. When you stop running from them, they stop controlling you. Most people chase positivity, but real healing begins with honesty. You can't grow from who you pretend to be, only from who you truly are. When you face your shadow, you bring unconscious pain into the light of awareness, and what is brought to light loses its power. Growth doesn't mean you stop feeling pain. It means you stop being ruled by it. Emotional maturity is the art of sitting with discomfort without turning it into your identity. You don't say, "I am broken." You say, "I am healing." Every emotion you survive builds tolerance, and tolerance builds strength. Soon, the pain that once crushed you becomes a feeling you can hold with peace. That's when you know you re-changing, when the same storms that once drowned you now only make you sway. Every tear you've cried, every night you've spent questioning your worth, every fear you've faced, they weren't wasted. They were training your heart to open again, training your soul to stay soft in a hard world. Because emotional growth is not about becoming unbreakable, it's about becoming unshakable. Unbreakable things shatter when they're hit, but unshakable things bend, adapt, and keep standing. So when you feel like your heart is breaking during change, remember, it's not breaking down, it's breaking open. You don't grow by escaping emotion, you grow by understanding it. Every moment of pain carries the seed of peace. Every breakdown hides a breakthrough. And when your heart learns to stay open through it, that's when transformation becomes permanent. Now that we've explored the emotional side of growth, it's time to step into the fire, the place where comfort ends and courage begins. Thanks for watching. Every human being lives inside a circle, a space made of habits, fears, and familiar patterns. That circle is called the comfort zone. Inside it, you feel safe, predictable, in control. But outside it, that's where life begins. The comfort zone is a silent cage, built not from walls, but from certainty. You say, "I'll start tomorrow. I'm not ready yet." And every time you delay, the cage grows smaller until it becomes your entire world. The irony of comfort is that it promises peace but delivers emptiness, because nothing new can grow in a place that never changes. Psychologically, the comfort zone exists because of your brain's threat system. It's controlled by the amygdala, the part of the brain that detects danger. To your brain, new equals uncertain, and uncertain equals unsafe. That's why doing something new triggers anxiety. But here's the twist. Your brain can tell the difference between physical danger and emotional discomfort. It reacts to both as threats. That's why sending a message, starting a new project, or speaking in public can make your heart race. Your brain thinks you're in survival mode. But once you understand this, you hold the key to breaking free. Because fear isn't a wall, it's a signal. It's your brain saying, "We're leaving the known." And that signal is the doorway to evolution. Between comfort and chaos lies a powerful middle ground, the stretch zone. This is where growth lives. When you stretch, you feel tension, not panic. You feel resistance, not paralysis. It's the perfect psychological pressure that pushes you forward without breaking you down. Growth doesn't happen by jumping off cliffs. It happens by taking consistent steps into discomfort. Every time you step a little further, your nervous system adapts, your comfort zone expands. That's how courage is built, not in a single moment, but in repeated acts of small bravery. Here's how the comfort zone traps you. First, you feel uncomfortable, so you retreat to safety. This retreat gives you a sense of relief, and your brain releases dopamine. Finally, your brain learns that avoidance equals reward, and the cycle repeats. That's why comfort feels so addictive. It gives you short-term peace, but long-term regret. Breaking the loop means teaching your brain a new association. Discomfort equals growth. Each time you act with courage, your brain releases the same dopamine it once saved for safety. That's how change becomes enjoyable, not forced, but rewarding. Growth begins at the edge of fear, not beyond it, at the edge. You don't need to erase fear. You just need to stop obeying it. Fear loses power when it becomes familiar. So the key is exposure, repeated, conscious, gentle exposure. Talk when you want to stay silent. Try when you want to wait. Move when you want to think about moving. That's how your brain learns that fear isn't fatal, it's fuel. The moment you stop running from fear, it starts running from you. Most people wait until they feel ready, but ready is an illusion. Your mind will never feel ready for something it has never done. Because readiness is not emotional, it's experiential. You don't become ready and then act. you act, and then your mind becomes ready. Every person who ever achieved something great was afraid before they began. Fear is not the sign you shouldn't move. It's proof you're on the right path. To break your comfort zone, you must break your pattern. Wake up earlier, speak your truth, challenge your excuses. Even a 1% difference daily creates a completely new trajectory in time. Small steps, repeated consistently, rewrite your brain, reshape your life, and redefine who you are. Because growth doesn't happen in the leap, it happens in the step. There's a moment after the fear, after the discomfort, when your body relaxes, your heart opens, and you realize you made it. That's the reward of courage. That's your nervous system learning a new truth. I survived. I adapted. I grew. Each time you face the unknown and win, your comfort zone stretches. And soon, the world that once scared you becomes your new home. The comfort zone was never meant to protect you forever. It was meant to prepare you for the courage to outgrow it. Don't fear discomfort. Fear stagnation. Because in the stillness of comfort, dreams slowly die. But outside that comfort, in the wild unknown, you discover who you were always meant to be. Now that you've learned to break your comfort zone, it's time to explore the deeper engine of transformation. The subconscious mind that shapes everything you think, feel, and do. Thank you for watching. If this resonated with you, subscribe and turn on notifications for our next video. Every thought you think, every emotion you feel, every habit you repeat, guided by something invisible, something ancient, something powerful. It's called the subconscious mind. While your conscious mind makes decisions, your subconscious writes the code that runs them. It's the silent force behind your personality, your beliefs, your fears, and your destiny. Psychologists estimate that 95% of your daily behavior is controlled by subconscious programming. That means only 5% of you is truly deciding. The rest is just repeating patterns written years ago. If you want to change your life, you have to speak to the part of your mind that actually runs the show. Your subconscious mind isn't logical, it's emotional. It learns through repetition, emotion, and imagery. It doesn't understand words like don't, can't, or should. It understands pictures, feelings, and energy. This is why affirmations alone don't always work. If the emotion doesn't match the words, the subconscious rejects them. You can say, I am confident 1,000 times, but if you feel small inside, your subconscious will believe the feeling, not the sentence. This is exactly why visualization is so powerful. When you imagine vividly, when you feel the emotion of success before it even happens, your subconscious can't tell the difference between what's real and what's imagined. It begins to rewire your brain to expect what you visualize. This is how mental rehearsal creates real-world change. It's a technique used by everyone, from top athletes and entrepreneurs to people healing and growing. Your subconscious started recording long before you could even speak. From birth to about age 7, your brain was mostly in what's called a theta wave, theta hypnotic, super impressionable condition. Everything you saw, heard, or felt became part of your programming. Your parents' beliefs, your teachers' words, your environment, they all shaped the emotional software that's running your life today. If you grew up hearing things like be careful, don't fail, or just stay safe, your subconscious probably learned to equate safety with staying small, not taking risks. If you experienced rejection or shame, your mind might have learned that love equals pain. And that pattern, written way back in childhood, still drives how you respond to challenges right now. But here's the most important truth. You didn't write those codes. You simply inherited them. And anything that was written unconsciously can be rewritten intentionally. So, how do we do it? To reprogram your subconscious, you need 3 key things: awareness, repetition, and emotion. Let's break that down. First is awareness. You have to identify your old, limiting programs. Start noticing your automatic thoughts. What do you tell yourself when you fail? When you're alone? When you dream big? These thoughts are clues, revealing the script your subconscious is currently running on autopilot. Second is repetition. The subconscious learns through consistent input. New, empowering beliefs have to be repeated, daily, not forced, but absorbed. You can do this through journaling, speaking affirmations out loud, or even just quiet reflection. Consistency is what makes the new belief stick. And the third, most crucial ingredient is emotion. When you truly feel the new belief in your body, your brain releases neurochemicals that imprint it much faster. This is why pairing your words with a strong, positive feeling is the secret to accelerating your transformation. The subconscious doesn't respond to logic or facts. It responds to symbols. This is why stories, music, and powerful images can move you more than a list of facts ever could. They bypass your analytical mind and go straight to your feelings, the native language of your deeper self. This is also why trauma, even from decades ago, can still shape your present reality. Your subconscious doesn't track time. It just reacts to emotional intensity. A moment that scared you as a child can still trigger fear today, unless you consciously go back and rewrite its meaning. But the same rule works in reverse. A new, powerful emotional experience can replace an old, painful one. That's what transformation truly is. Not deleting your past, but reinterpreting it with wisdom. In neuroscience, this process is called synaptic pruning. When you stop giving an old, negative thought pattern your attention, the neural connections that support it start to weaken and dissolve. At the same time, when you repeat new, empowering beliefs, your brain builds new pathways, turning a possibility into your new personality. Every time you choose courage over fear, you're literally rewiring your subconscious. Every time you choose to forgive instead of hold a grudge, you're replacing a program of scarcity with one of abundance. Every time you act despite feeling doubt, you're reteaching your subconscious a new lesson. I am safe even when I am growing. When your conscious goals and your subconscious beliefs finally align, you enter a state of coherence. This is when you stop sabotaging yourself. You stop fighting those internal battles. All your energy starts flowing in one direction forward. This is where manifestation meets neuroscience. When your mind and your emotions are vibrating with the same purpose, the world around you begins to reflect that harmony back to you. You stop chasing change and you start becoming it. The strongest people aren't the ones who fight their minds. They're the ones who befriend them. Your subconscious is not your enemy, it's your student. It's listening to every thought you repeat, every story you tell yourself, and every emotion you feed it. So, speak to it with love, feed it with courage, show it what freedom feels like. Because when your subconscious finally learns that growth is safe, change becomes effortless. Your habits transform on their own. Your emotions find a new sense of calm. Your purpose awakens. And you no longer just survive, your mind, you lead it. Now that you understand the power of your subconscious, it's time to learn how to rebuild your identity and live a life of purpose, not by chance, but by design. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more. There comes a moment in every person's life when they realize they can go back. The old version of you, The one who lived in fear, who doubted, who waited, has served its purpose. But it's time to become someone new. This is the power of reinvention, the art of consciously rebuilding yourself. Not because life forced you to, but because your soul is ready to evolve. Psychologists say your identity is not who you truly are. It's who you've learned to be. It's a collection of beliefs, behaviors, and patterns that helped you survive your past. But survival and growth are not the same. The identity that protected you yesterday can become the prison that limits you today. In psychology, this is called ego attachment. Your sense of self becomes attached to a version of you that's outdated. You say, "I've always been shy. I'm just not good with people. That's just who I am." But those aren't facts. They're identities built from memory, and memory is flexible. If your past was written by reaction, your future can be rewritten by intention. Reinvention begins when you realize one simple truth. You are not your story. You are the storyteller. Every identity is a role, a mask your mind wears to navigate the world. But you can change the role anytime you choose. The process of reinvention follows 3 stages: awareness, release, and recreation. First, awareness. Seeing yourself clearly. Most people never truly see themselves. They see reflections of other people's opinions from parents, teachers, and society. Awareness is the moment you step away from the noise and look at yourself with honesty. Ask yourself, who am I when no one's watching? What do I believe about myself that keeps me small? What part of me is afraid to grow? The person you see in that reflection, that's not your limit. That's your beginning. Next, release. Letting go of the old you. Letting go isn't losing, it's freeing. Every time you hold on to an old identity, you block the energy meant for your next one. You must release old beliefs that say I can't, old environments that keep you small, and old versions of yourself that only knew how to survive. It will hurt. It will feel empty. But that emptiness is sacred. It's space for the new self to enter. In therapy, this process is known as identity reconstruction. You're dismantling the mental framework of your past to build a stronger one in its place. Finally, recreation, becoming who you choose. Now comes the creation. The moment when you start defining yourself by vision, not by memory. You begin to ask different questions. Who do I want to be? What does my future self think, believe, and feel? How can I act like that person today? With each aligned action, you begin to embody that identity. Your brain starts wiring new associations. Confidence instead of fear, discipline instead of avoidance, purpose instead of confusion. That's how change becomes permanent, when the new self feels more natural than the old one ever did. The universe responds to energy, not words. When you carry yourself like the person you're becoming, your world adjusts to match you. You attract people, opportunities, and experiences that reflect your new vibration. Because life doesn't give you what you want, it gives you what you are. So stop waiting for permission. Stop asking for signs. You are the sign. You are the permission. Think of the butterfly. It begins as a creature that crawls. Before it flies, it dissolves inside a cocoon, its old self literally melting away so a new one can emerge. That's what reinvention feels like. The breaking, the confusion, the stillness. It's your own cocoon. Don't rush it. Let the transformation unfold. Because the version of you that's coming is already waiting inside the one you are now. It takes courage to walk away from what's comfortable, and even more to walk toward what's possible. But remember this, You are not starting from zero. You are starting from experience. Everything you've lost taught you. Everything you've endured built you. Everything you feared prepared you. Reinvention is not becoming someone else. It's remembering who you were before the world told you who to be. The power of reinvention is already inside you. It's the whisper that says, there's more. It's the strength that rises when everything falls apart. You've changed before. You can change again. Now that you've learned to rebuild yourself, it's time to look forward to the moment where everything you've learned, felt, and overcome turns into the ultimate transformation, becoming who you were always meant to be. This is it. The moment after the storm. You've faced fear. You've endured the discomfort of change. You've cried, healed, and rebuilt. And now, you're no longer the same. The old you is gone, but something beautiful stands in its place. This is awakening. The quiet realization that everything you were searching for was never outside you. It was always within you, waiting for you to remember. Awakening isn't magic. It's not a single, blinding moment of enlightenment that changes everything in an instant. It's a slow, steady remembering. It's a gradual return to your power, your purpose, your peace. In psychology, we call this self-actualization, the highest level of human growth, where your potential finally becomes your reality. It's that transformative moment when you stop chasing validation and start living from your own inner truth. You stop needing approval because you've finally met yourself, truly and deeply. You've faced your shadows, you've rewired your mind, and you have walked through fear time and time again. You are no longer just reacting to life. You are actively creating it. True, lasting growth is all about alignment. It's when your conscious mind, your subconscious beliefs, your emotions, and your actions all start moving in the same direction, like a perfectly tuned orchestra. When you reach this state, your nervous system naturally calms down. Your energy stabilizes, and your creativity awakens in a way you may have never experienced before. You're no longer drained by constant inner resistance. Instead, you're guided by flow. This is what psychologists refer to as integration, that powerful moment when all your inner parts stop fighting each other. Your logic and your emotion become partners, not enemies. Your past and your present stop clashing, and your purpose begins to feel clear, undeniable, and right. You begin to live differently. You stop frantically rushing toward the future and start breathing into the present moment. You stop regretting the past and start learning from it, seeing it as a teacher. Presence becomes your superpower. The awakened mind understands that peace isn't something you have to find out there somewhere. It's something you return to, right here, inside yourself. It was always here, just beneath the noise of the world, beneath the layers of self-doubt. And when you learn to connect to that inner stillness, your decisions become clear, your relationships deepen, and your purpose reveals itself naturally, without force or struggle. Think about it. Every tear you cried, every fear you faced, every failure that humbled you, they weren't punishments. They were preparation. Life wasn't trying to break you. It was building you. Pain wasn't meant to stop you in your tracks. It was meant to shape you into who you are becoming. Growth didn't come to destroy your peace. It came to teach you what real peace feels like. Because pain is not the opposite of joy. It's the doorway to it. You can't fully feel the light until you've known the darkness. You can't experience true freedom until you've faced your deepest fears. And you can't feel whole until you've learned to accept every single broken part of yourself with love and compassion. The final stage of growth is not about achieving perfection. It's about returning to wholeness. And wholeness doesn't mean you'll never feel pain again. It means that pain no longer defines you. You carry your scars not as open wounds, but as symbols of wisdom and resilience. You stop desperately seeking strength from outside sources because you realize that you are strength. You've learned that growth isn't about becoming something entirely new. It's about remembering who you already are beneath all the conditioning and expectations. Awareness is your greatest gift. It's the ability to see yourself clearly, not through a lens of judgment, but through one of gentle understanding. Every single time you pause and just breathe, every time you choose to observe your thoughts instead of automatically reacting to them, you are practicing awareness. And this awareness creates freedom. Because when you can see your mind, you are no longer a prisoner of your mind. You become its master. That is what awakening truly is. It's not an escape from life, but a deeper, more meaningful participation in it. You are not who you were a year ago. You are not your past mistakes. You are not your failures, or your fears, or the labels that others have tried to put on you. You are the one who learned, endured, and evolved. So rise, not as who you once were, but as who you were always meant to be. A mind awakened, a heart unafraid, a soul perfectly aligned with its purpose. You have walked through the fire of fear. You have faced yourself in the mirror. You have rewritten the programming of your mind. And now you are free. Because real freedom doesn't come from changing your world. It comes from changing your perception of it. Every sunrise is proof that no night lasts forever. Every new breath you take is a reminder that you still have time. And every single thought you think is another chance to create yourself anew. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are becoming. This is your awakening. This is your rebirth. This is the psychology of change and growth. This is what it means to evolve, to live, to learn, to rise. And remember, the greatest transformation you'll ever experience is becoming the person you were always meant to be. Thanks for watching.